Now, if we go in to SQL, if we go back to SQL, then where we left off was basically that we created the course example database. So now we have a database. It's empty. We don't have anything in it yet. But what we need to do is we need to create some content. And the way for us to do that, at least in our situation, if you're working professionally somewhere in a corporate job, then probably all of this will be taken care of. I don't hope that you're gonna that you're gonna go out and implement a big solution based on this video. If so, good luck. But in most cases, if you're an analyst like myself, all of this has been taken care of. But it is nice to know how it works. You can do it on your own, which is what we're going to be doing. But most times, the databases will be connected automatically to different other source systems where you get the information from, and then you publish it into the databases for you to do your queries. So, as an example, that could be that you maybe have a CRM solution, so a customer relationship management system where you hold a bunch of information on your customers, but that needs to be queryable in databases, so there will be connections from that system. In my professional job, that's a Microsoft system as well, and then that system will be connected into Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio on its own. So the information from the CRM system is pushed automatically in here. If that's the case, then you don't have to do anything. You don't have to create all these tables, so you can skip these first couple of videos. But just for context, it might be relevant for you to learn how it works, at least if you want to do it on your own. So if we want to create any content under this course example, so right now when we look at the tables, there's no tables, there's no views, there's no nothing. So the way for us to do that is to write create table, simple as that, and then we'll give it a name, gender, for example. So let's start with that. Then we open parentheses, and we down here we'll close it again. Oh, we don't actually need that here. And then we will give it a column. So let's give it a column name called ID, like I showed you in the Excel file. And then now we need to define the data type. So as I was talking a little bit about before, it could for example be an integer, which is a number. It could be a varchar, which is a string of characters, and that could be numbers or letters. It could be whatever. Those are the two things that we will use primarily in this setup. So if you just learn those two, then you know the most basics, and then you're at least somewhat good to go. So we need to specify that it needs to be an int, an integer. So we do it like this. And then for the ID here, we will also add identity 1, which means and a primary key. So this means that it will start at 1, and then it will add 1 every time we add a new row. And we will make it a primary key, which is another way of telling the system that this primary key connects to another primary key on a table. So we'll do that, and then we'll add the actual column with some words or some information, which would be male or female in this very basic example. So we'll call that gender, and then we'll give it a varchar 255, which is like the basic you would give. And there's probably a bunch of nerds looking at this thinking, oh my god, no, you're doing it wrong. It's fine. We just need to get some content inside of the databases, so we have something to work with when we want to do our select and joins and statements, which we will be doing in a second. So if we do this and we press F5, I just realized that I have put all the tables in the wrong place. So when you're connected, and that's actually a very good point, so be careful of that. When you're connected, you need to use the database that you want. You need to specify it. So I was just using the master. We're going to be using the course example. So I'll just recreate all the tables in here. Oh, and it's not showing up, probably because there isn't any content into it. So we'll just add some simple content. So we'll do that by using the statement insert into. So now we're inserting something into a table. So we specify that it needs to be the gender table. You can see it also starts popping up here. And what we want to enter is the gender. So we don't want to enter the ID because we've set that as identity11, so it'll be captured and created on its own. And then we need to specify what values we need to put in. So let's go values, and then we use single apostrophes, or whatever you call these, not double quotation marks, but the single quotation marks. That's what we use to well, that's what we use in SQL primarily. You can use the other one also, but let's just go with this. So we'll add male, and then we will also add the same structure, female. So if we do this, and another trick, if we press F5 now, we will run this and this again. So we will run both queries that we basically created. If you mark something like so, and you press F5, then we only run the selected. And that also means that if will test it in a second, because now we should be able to query the content of the table now that we've created the table and we inserted some information into it. So if we just go very, this would be the most fundamental statement that you can write. Select star, and star means basically anything. So select anything or everything from gender. So if we run these two lines, we get an output. Yay! So now we're getting going. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we have some content in the table. Now we have the application installed. We have a database or a server set up locally run. We have created a database, of course, example. We have created the first table and called it gender. We have specified the data types, and we have inserted two data fields or two data values in the table itself. And now we have run a query to get the content of that table out into an overview. Now, what I wanted to say before is that so you can go like this, and then if you mark everything and click F5 or you click execute up here, then you will run the whole thing. But if you only mark this and you click F5, then you will only run that which you have highlighted or marked. But you got to be careful, because if you do like this, you're missing the S, for example, you're missing part of the SQL statement that you're running, and you press F5, then you get an error code because elect star from gender doesn't make any sense to the machine. It needs to be the full thing, otherwise it won't work. So be careful of that. But that's the first table, and I will go ahead and create a couple of other tables just to fill out some information in some tables. But this is the basic structure of it. I just realized that I have put all the tables in the wrong place. So now it should work. If we refresh, we can find the tables underneath our course example database. So if we close all of these and take a breather, then what we've done now is that we have set up a bunch of different tables, and hopefully we created them correctly so that there's connections between them. So now we can go ahead and start querying stuff.